one day I opened Facebook and I saw a Facebook message from someone. And this person was asking me if I could go down to the North Carolina General Assembly to testify against a bill in a committee hearing in 2 hours. I had never done anything like this before. I really didn't truly understand how this process really worked, and I don't love public speaking, but I decided democracy needs me. I'm going down there. I'm wandering around looking for this room, I guess, and I find it, and I see other people who look scared, so I'm gonna go sit with them. They're with me. And so we're sitting here waiting for further instruction, and the chairman of the committee gets up, and he addresses us, and he says, "Thank you so much for coming, but we're not gonna hear any testimony today. This is the second hearing on the bill. If you had wanted to testify, you should have come to an earlier committee hearing." My first reaction is immense relief. But my second reaction, which came pretty quickly after the first, is anger. This man is implying that it's our fault that we didn't know about an earlier committee hearing. So I decide after this experience, I want to know what would I have had to have known to know about an earlier committee hearing, be able to show up and actually testify on this bill. So I start to do some digging, and what I find is troubling, to say the least. I find that it's very, very difficult to track state policy. And I think that there's two reasons for this. First of all, the content. It is not J.K. Rowling writing these bills. Bless these people, I am sure they are lovely, but they're legal bills, so the language is dense. It's not easy to read, and it has vast impacts that are really hard to evaluate by just reading a bill. Let's say you know what the bill even means, and you get through it. It's a full-time job just to keep track of where it is in the process. So this all seemed alarming. It doesn't seem like it's the way it should be. But what I start to discover is that it's actually even worse than it sounds, because the legislation that our state governments pass is incredibly important. They pass legislation on all sorts of issues, but they have immense power over democracy. So it's felt like we should do something about this. And I got together with a group called Code the Dream, a tech group out of the American Underground here in Durham. And we posed the question to ourselves: can we make any part of this easier or more transparent? And that's what we set out to do. We decided to address tracking instead of content for a few reasons. First of all, when it comes to legislation, so many people need to be at the table talking about the impacts that legislation have, because it touches so many different types of people in different industries, and we didn't feel like our little group could be the voice for all those people, and we definitely shouldn't be. Secondly, all those folks, they need to get to the table, and how are they supposed to get to the table if they don't even know where the table is? So we wanted to provide access to people so that they knew just what was going on. And finally, we thought, isn't it supposed to be better? Like, shouldn't it be easier? This information is, quote, publicly available because it's on a website, but it's in no way publicly accessible. So we wanted to design a way that made the information more publicly accessible. So that's what we've been doing. But I have a question for you all. Does anyone know what November 6th is? Election day, yeah. Who's gonna vote? I hope every hand, yes, yay. So I hope you have a plan to vote. If you have making a plan is like the best way to make sure that you actually get there. But well, we're not technically gonna launch on election day, but why is this a big day for us? Well, turns out who you vote for is who writes your laws, so that's kind of important. The other reason, and it's something that folks may not realize about this election, is that in North Carolina, there are going to be a lot of questions on the ballot. And these questions are constitutional amendments, and they're going to sound very legally. They're going to be in like the legal language that we all love so much. One of these questions in particular is going to ask, very simply, do you support or oppose voter ID? This is giving the power to you to decide, which is awesome, because a lot of times we actually don't really have the power over our legislators once they're in office. They get to decide. But on November 6th, you get to decide. But what I don't know that a lot of people realize about the constitutional amendments is, although they sound legally, and they will be amendments to the Constitution, they're not actually the law. So it's after the fact, after constitutional amendments pass, that the laws are actually written. And that's usually when the lights go out for the public. And they don't know what's in the laws once they are written. So we are looking to have access to the public in this event towards the end of November. I hope you all vote on November 6th, and thank you so much.